Hello guys, welcome back. My name's Melissa. If you're new here, welcome. And for today's video, we are going to do my October favorites. And you guys are getting a little sneak peek at my new moss pole wall behind me. I actually just got through rearranging my entire plant room and I am filming a plant tour this weekend. It is coming soon for you guys. I'm really excited to show you guys my plants and all their growth. My last houseplant tour was 4 months ago and I'm excited to update it and just see the growth progress. But as I was rearranging and going through my collection, I found some favorites that I just have to share. I just love all of my plants, but these ones are some special ones that I feel like have really just spoken to me this month and I want to share them with you guys. Up first, we are going to do my Alocasia Frydek. I love this Alocasia so much and it recently gave me a new leaf, which is this middle one, and it is quite large. And this plant has grown so well for me this summer. 7 gorgeous, beautiful leaves. And I have several baby corms that I'm currently rooting in my greenhouse. So once those are more mature, I'm going to be adding them back into my pot to fill out this plant so I can have a huge Frydek one day. This plant I absolutely love. I love alocasias. But these velvety leaves are just something else. I just can't with this plant. This Frydek's currently in a 6-inch pot right here. Yeah, it's got roots coming out the bottom already. I think it'll be good for a little while. I might have to upsize it before spring. I can tell when it needs upsized when the newest leaf is a little bit smaller. So since this newest leaf is quite large, I feel like it'll be okay for another leaf or two. This one was like, I think the 3rd newest one, and it's a little bit smaller. So that at that point I knew it needed upsized, and since I upsized it, it's given me this leaf and then just this leaf unfurled. So it is growing very well. It loves my plant room and I just love this plant. But if you struggle with alocasias, I honestly think the Frydek has been really easy. As long as you don't overwhelm the pot, I feel like these guys appreciate a smaller pot kind of being somewhat snug but not root bound, and they really love a chunky mix. All of my alocasias are in a very chunky mix and they just absolutely love it, and I think this one is just winning because it's just beautiful. I love this plant. This next plant is a recent favorite. I actually combined both of my Syngonium Albos. It's going to be hard to see this one with all the poles in the background. But I love Syngonium Albo. The variegation is just stunning on this plant. Like, look at those leaves. This plant is absolutely gorgeous. And I am probably gonna have to extend him soon. So now there's several vines that are gonna be growing up and this plant is going to get really full and grow out on this pole. This is probably my favorite Syngonium that I have. I think my Aurea is my 2nd favorite, but I have another Syngonium I'm gonna show you because when I was rearranging my room, that Syngonium was hidden in the back behind some other plants and I kind of just forgot about it for the longest time, and it's grown so well and I just love the way it looks. So it's recently become one of my favorite Syngoniums too, and I'll show you that one. I'll show you that one next, but this one definitely is one of my favorite Syngoniums. This was actually one of my first variegated plants because at that time Syngonium Albo was not super expensive and I found it pretty easy, and I just love the variegation. Like, I just don't think you can beat the variegation. Look at that. So if you've been wanting a variegated plant but you know that they're expensive, I would definitely recommend the Albo. They're very easy to propagate. You just take node cuttings. You can root in water or moss or any substrate. Some of them I find take a little bit longer to root, but other than that, I feel like it's pretty easy and this plant does not give me any trouble at all. So I highly recommend this plant. I will forever love Syngonium Albo. Next up is going to be the Syngonium. This is the one that I was talking about. This is a frosted heart Syngonium, and those leaves are everything. They have this like cool veining. It's really hard to describe. The texture isn't velvety. It's like kind of like a papery feel in a way, but I think it's beautiful. I have it growing up this is like a moss stake. It's like dried moss, and it's done really well. I just kind of had it in the back and I've just forgotten about it for the longest time. It does have like weird spacing. Syngonium, some of them grow kind of weird. You see how like the roots are in the middle? So this would be like interesting depending on, you know, how you decide to support it. So I don't think I would necessarily do this one on a moss pole. I think it's growing pretty well on the stake, and I love the leaves, and it's growing pretty fast, I would say. There is a new node here on the bottom that's activating, and I'll probably grow this one up to where it covers this like middle section here. I think once it hits the top of this, I might propagate it to add to this other side so that I have like a pretty full bushy plant all the way around, so it's just not like one side and one side that's bushy, and you know, have this like weird spot on both this middle section. But I do love this Syngonium. I think it's been pretty easy so far. I've had it since last year sometime, and yeah, I mean, all the leaves look pretty happy on it. I don't really see anything wrong with this plant. I've never had like any issues with it. It's in my normal mix, and yeah, it's just been doing well for me. I really like this Syngonium. This next one is my Calathea Makoyana. And the reason why I'm featuring this one is because this has grown back from absolutely nothing. This plant is over 2 years old. I got it during the winter time I believe I got it at Lowe's big box store, because there was a Lowe's a couple miles from me at the old house. And it was pretty full and it did well, and then it came down with spider mites. And I didn't catch it. Back then I didn't really know too much about plant pests. I was like someone who always thought like, oh, I've never had pests before. Maybe I'm just lucky. Little did I know, I actually had spider mites and didn't realize it. So I unfortunately cut this plant all the way back. I had to, and it was really sad. And it's taken a good, I would say a good 1.5 years to get back to this point. And it's growing some pretty large leaves lately, I feel like, up top. The backside of these leaves are absolutely beautiful. It's a very stunning Calathea, and I'm just really happy to see it happy and growing back. I love this one. I do find these ones at the big box store quite often, so they're not super expensive, and it's been doing well all summer. I think it's just really appreciated the upsize that I did on it. I upsized it to a 5-inch from a 4-inch. And ever since I did that, it's been growing crazy. And I do have my slow release Osmocote in here, which I think it's really liking. And yeah, I just love this one. So I'm just really happy to see that I'm able to rescue this and to see it happy and growing back. And it has several new spikes in here, so it's growing a ton more leaves. So there's several new ones that are going to push out, so I'm really excited for it. This next one is a new favorite because I've had this plant for a while, but it gave me a new leaf recently. And it's one of these poles that is very, very slow, and it's kind of hidden behind all my other poles. So I feel like I don't pay that much attention to it, but it did surprise me with a new leaf recently. And I got this plant because I love the color. Like Cebu blue, if you just love that silvery blue tone, this plant is absolutely beautiful. So this, I don't know if I said, this is my Amydrium medium silver, and I got it as a cutting actually, and I think it had, I don't even know if it has the original leaf, but these are some of the baby ones still left. And then this one grew, and then this one grew, which was pretty big. And it did nothing for the longest time. It was just these two leaves. I don't know if it's just a slow grower or I just didn't give it enough light, but I recently have another Plant Spectrum grow light here behind me. And all of my plants that have gotten the other light, this one is the one that I've had for a while, and it's gotten a lot of my bigger poles. And so this section here that was on the opposite wall didn't really get a lot of light. So this could be the reason why it didn't really grow that much, is because it just wasn't getting enough light. So now that I have my poles together and I have another forward light here, I really think this is probably going to start growing better. And since we are coming into like the fall like the winter season, I may not get that much growth, but I'm gonna see how it does for me. I don't think it's working on any new leaves or anything yet. So I just love this plant. I love the color. I just think it's beautiful. And it has like these ripplings in them. I don't know if the color is really coming off on camera that well. But I would love like huge leaves of this. I think this color is, I don't know, I think it's prettier than the Cebu Blue, honestly. It's very similar, but I feel like it has more of like a silvery tone to it, which I love. So I feel like it's been pretty easy, just a slow grower. So I feel like you have to have a lot of patience with this plant, or it could have been the light issue, but I still feel like it's been pretty slow for me. Next up is my Monstera Adansonii pole. I have to feature this pole again because these two new leaves are just huge, and it's giving me another one right here. It just is starting to unfurl. So this is the latest leaf that you guys haven't seen yet. I mean, it is pretty huge. Like, this is my hand, and it's bigger than my hand. And I think I measured it to be around 8 inches in length. And this plant is growing so well for me. I did extend it on my channel recently, so I am excited for it to reach the top and chop it again to get rid of the plastic base. I have to be careful when I'm holding my poles up because I have the ceiling fan on above me that stays on, and I know one day I'm gonna take one of my poles out with that ceiling fan. I know it's gonna happen one day. I keep trying to be mindful, but I just love Monstera Adansonii. I just love these big leaves. I think it's been really happy, and I'm just excited. I just feel like I grew this, you know, because I started this plant on a pole, and I worked hard to get it to where it's at. It survived being chopped. It just has a special, I don't know, it's just special to me, and to see it like thriving and happy and growing bigger, I just love, love, love this pole. It's definitely, it just makes me happy to know that it's happy, and I can't wait to see it fenestrate more and get even bigger. I definitely can't wait to see the growth that I'm gonna get when I go to like chop it again. I'm just so excited for this. I'm gonna feature another pole. This is my tallest one. This is my Siltepecana, and it's recently starting to grow larger for me. These are the top leaves here. Well, this one's actually still hardening a bit, so they are slightly getting bigger. The stem is getting a little bit thicker, this new leaf. It's growing really, really fast, and there's a few vines down here that are starting to catch up. I have at least 4 that I can see that's pushing a new leaf currently. Down below, it is really tall. I don't even know how tall it is. I didn't measure it, but I extended it on my Instagram. I didn't extend this on my YouTube. But I know I'm gonna get a fenestrated leaf soon. I just know it's coming. I love this plant now that it's climbing, and to see these leaves get larger. I have been staring at this pole almost every day. Every new leaf that comes out, I'm like, does it have a split leaf yet? Does it have a hole yet? So I know it's coming. I'm just really excited. I can't wait. It's growing really, really fast. And once it reaches the top of this huge pole, I'm going to probably do a chop and extend on this one because I want to continue like getting mature leaves. That's my goal, is to get pretty large leaves. So we'll see. Hopefully a lot of these other vines can catch up before I have to do a chop on it, because one vine seems to take over all of my poles, even though I started them all at like the same in the pot, and like there was a top cut and other mid cups. There was a lot of top cuts, but for some reason one vine seems to lead the plant to produce and provide energy for the plant to continue growing. It's like that with pretty much all of my poles, but I don't know. I love this plant. We are going to end today's video on this plant. This is my Monstera Aurea. It is my favorite plant that I own. It is special to me. I love, love, love this plant. And hopefully you can see it's starting to get a little dark in here. I didn't use my ring light, but this is the newest leaf. It's still hardening. Each new leaf is getting bigger and getting more splits, but you can see the variegation slightly coming through. This was the latest leaf and the variegation starting to turn more yellow. And these leaves, you can see like the variegation coming through. I really need to repot this plant. See, these leaves are curling. It's thirsty. I need to water it. It's in a 6-inch pot and I'm gonna get rid of this pole. I'm gonna repot this in a separate video on my channel. I was waiting for this leaf to harden and then all of a sudden it spit out this leaf within like, I don't know, like a week later, and I don't want to repot like while a leaf is growing. So as soon as this starts to harden, I'm repotting this plant. So I'm gonna probably repot it later this week. I think it'll give it enough time because I want to repot it before it pushes out another leaf. Because I feel like it's starting to stress because it's getting very thirsty very like frequently, and I don't want to stress it anymore. So look forward to a video on me repotting this plant. I want to find a special stake for this plant, and I want to find a special pot because it's my favorite plant. It deserves to have a beautiful pot and a beautiful stake. So I'm gonna go on the hunt for something and see what I can find. I'm probably gonna upsize it. This is a 6-inch. I'm probably gonna go up to a 7 or 8-inch. I don't want to go up too large. An 8-inch is pretty big, but this is a 6-inch and it's kind of outgrown it. Yeah, I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna see what I can find and then I will pot it up, and it's beautiful. I love this plant, you guys. So that is it. This is all of my favorites for the month. I think I had some that were still kind of my favorites, but I feel like these were the ones that I've just loved the most recently this month, and I'm excited for new growth and what this like next season is going to be. I'm excited that my plant room is rearranged and I can't wait to show you guys. I know you're going to see this video before my plant room tour, but stay tuned. I'm going to show you guys every single plant that I currently own, how it looks now, and I'm going to make it a part 2, where part 2 is going to include like how I put my room together, like what I used as far as shelving, lights, everything else, like all the equipment, all of that. And then part 1 is just going to be all the house plants. I think it would make for like a fun video because I have a lot of plants and I don't want to overwhelm you with like plants and shelves and equipment. I think breaking it up will be a little bit better. But yes, I love this plant. I love all my plants. I feel so much better that my collection is somewhat downsized, but I still have a ton of plants. I'm going to do a final count when I do my plant room tour here soon this weekend. And I did make a pile of plants that I'm getting rid of. So some plants I don't currently plan on keeping anymore, and that's okay. But I feel better knowing like my collection is kind of filled with plants that I like, and I might eventually downsize again because there were some plants I kept that I didn't really love per se, but I don't feel like getting rid of them quite yet. So we'll see, but I'm just excited for it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you guys so much. Thank you for being here and just supporting my channel. I just can't thank you guys enough. And yeah, I will talk to you very, very soon.